Welcome back to the Sports Source. This segment brought to you by Games and Things. And for those folks out there who love pinball, my goodness, they got a machine that'll just blow you away. It's one game that features 1,080 classic pinball games, all digitally remastered and loaded into one machine. That's one machine with 1,080 different classic pinball games. Everything from Gilligan's Island to the Grateful Dead. Doesn't matter what era you're from, they've got it. And the beauty is that one machine costs less than a standard pinball machine that has one game in it. So you're getting 1,080 games for a price smaller than what you would get in a regular one-game pinball machine. Games and Things, folks, they can make your house a lot of fun because life should be fun. Games and Things, get out there and check with them this week. All right, back at the podium with Jimmy Hyams, Josh Ward, Chuck Cavaleris. Quickly, because we want to get to the VFLs, a little will they or won't they segment regarding the Ball State game. How many teams are between Tennessee and Alabama, Georgia at the top of the league? I mean, and so it's basically if you're doing power rankings, is Tennessee fourth best, third best, eighth best? Where do you put Tennessee?
Well, you're not past Texas A&M yet, right? I'd have Texas A&M up there
just
for sure.
Just as a reminder, BetMGM had Tennessee fourth overall odds behind Texas A&M. But what's odd, in the East, they had them behind Georgia and Kentucky.
Right.
So fourth or fifth would be kind of their view.
Yeah. So
where are you going?
I'm going to go probably sixth, maybe, because you're fighting to stay second. You're trying to be number two in your division, right? That's what you're trying to do. If you slip from there, then you're down in the bottom half of the league. So I'm going to have around 6, 7 overall.
6 or 7, sort of middle of the league. Where are you going, guys?
I got them fifth. I think they're
Behind?
second in the East, and the other two would be LSU and A&M.
Okay.
I would probably go fifth, A&M, and I like Arkansas. I did have LSU beating Tennessee head-to-head in the previous segment, but that's also in Baton Rouge. Neutral side, I think I'd pick Tennessee to beat.
And what about Ole Miss?
LSU.
You better than Ole Miss?
Yes.
Okay.
In my head, it's much easier at this point in the season to just view them in blocks. Because I think Tennessee's mixed in with a lot of other. I didn't give you that option, of course, but I think Tennessee's mixed in there with a lot of teams. I mean, Florida's still got talent. I don't know that Billy Napier is going to be the end-all, be-all, but they've got talent. They just went off the cliff last year. LSU, talent. Texas A&M, we know what kind of recruiting class they brought in, and we know that Jimbo Fisher's been building for a while. I kind of middle of the pack sounds about right to me. I don't know that I would have them fifth in the league. That seems high, maybe a little high at this point. I could see them finishing fifth.
Right.
But at this point, I just kind of group them in there with South Carolina, with Florida, with a bunch of those.
If I'm going to have them ranked higher than somebody, you'd have to beat them the last time you played them pretty recent. The way I look at it. You didn't beat Ole Miss. Might should have, but you didn't. So I can't really put them ahead of them right now.
There's just a lot of teams I wouldn't, I'm not going to be shocked if they lost to them. And the same, flip it over, a lot of teams I'm not going to be shocked if they beat them. You know, like Kentucky, Tennessee. The only thing that would shock me there is Kentucky usually finds a way to lose to Tennessee. The only thing that would shock me in Tennessee, Florida is the fact that Tennessee usually finds a way to lose to Florida. Yeah. But all those teams are kind of lumped together in my skull at the moment. All right, and then nobody wants to be lumped together in my skull. Let's go over to our VFLs over on the side set. We got Will Overstreet, Sterling Hinton, and Daniel Hood, and this is going to be a tremendous segment, which I may blow up next week if it sucks. But here's what we're going to do. Yes or no, you guys have signs. You can show the people. You've got yes and no signs. All right, I'm going to ask you, will they or won't they? Number one, will Hendon Hooker account for 5 touchdowns, running, passing, receiving, versus Ball State? 5 touchdowns. Okay, there's a shock. Daniel and Sterling say yes. Will says no. Why no?
Why no? Because I don't want him in there for 5 touchdowns, right? I mean, I score enough, score 28 points, and then I want you to be safe. It's Ball State. If we're playing like that, get reps for the next guy.
There you go. Understood. All right. Question number 2. Will Byron Young and Jeremy Banks both get at least 1 sack in this game? Those two led the team in sacks last year with 5.5 for the season. Will they both get a sack against Ball State? Daniel Hood says no. Will goes on the positive side. Daniel, why do you say no?
I think Ball State's going to try to run the clock to get out of there. I think it's going to be a quick game. They're not going to have many opportunities, but I think they will have a sack and an interception between the two.
All right, very good. We can throw an interception in there. All right. Number 3, will Tennessee roll up 500 yards of total offense, okay, against Ball State? Now, they only did that last year against Missouri, South Alabama, and then Purdue in the bowl game, which, again, the bowl games are kind of out there. Only did it twice in the regular season last year. Will they put up 500 yards against Ball State? The VFLs say, well, look at this. Will, positive again. Sterling always positive. Daniel with the negative. Okay, why won't they get 500?
I just remember last season where we were shocked at how well the defense came out and played well, and the offense was still had some clicking issues. And I think also Will's first point, I don't see Hendon Hooker playing past the second quarter. Put up 28 in the first quarter, said they put other guys in.
All right, very good. Last one here. Will the Vols, this one's big. Sterling, you said this off air earlier, and I had one waiting for you. Will the Vols have fewer than 5 penalties in this game? They only did that they only did that 4 times last year. Fewer than 5 penalties. Everybody says no. Sterling finally found a small one where he had to go negative. All right, so that's been an issue with Josh Heupel's teams. It's an opener.
It's a first game opener,
First
too.
game, yeah.
Any team, I would honestly, if you ask me that, I would say in an opener, you're going to have more penalties. So having less than 5 or 5 or less, I wouldn't put that on any team.
If you'd said 10, I may would have said yes, less than 10. But 5, those D linemen, these guys here, get a couple offsides, trying to jump and everything. It's going to happen. It's going to happen.
What if it's 7.5?
Won't have any false starts on the offense. It's going to be those D linemen.
The offense doesn't do anything wrong.
Very good.
Might
Very
have a
good.
couple of those.
All right, thanks to all those guys. When we come back, it's the first Beat the House segment of the year. We've made major upgrades to the Chucky Note Casino. We also have a new charity that we're playing for, and we'll tell you about that. But let's open up the contest with Cavaliers line next. Come on back on the Sports Source.